So the end of electric vehicle car tax exemptions from next year could kill off demand for greener cars in Britain, a new report is warning. From April 2025, EV owners will be forced to pay vehicle excise duty or car tax for the first time under new rules introduced by the former Tory government. Not only will all EV owners face first-year showroom tax on all new models and a standard rate thereafter, 7 in 10 battery-powered models will also be stung by a premium tax of £410 levied on luxury vehicles for 5 years. Now think about this. People were incentivised to go into EVs because at the time, remember, the cost of charging was quite cheap. The price of said vehicles was also reasonable at the time and incentivised many. And of course, let's not forget government schemes that, you fancy, you want to buy an EV? Oh, well, we have this scheme that will knock several £1,000s off it if you buy it, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, all that was starting to be reduced or taken away. And, of course, look at the charging infrastructure and look at the charges for charging. They've gone through the roof. And it's been proved by many YouTubers and others, the cost of charging up is more expensive in many instances than the cost of fueling up, like petrol or diesel. Yeah, it's the usual incentivized shenanigans that are paid for by taxpayers to incentivize agendas and the push for them. But remember, overall, they not only want you out of gasoline or diesel-powered cars, they are wanting you out of the EVs as well. Remember, there is so much complexity to this, but it's still seen as an asset. A car is an asset. Yeah, it has a value. And say you are wanting to take a loan or whatever else, it gives you some buying power. And if the worst comes to the worst, you can sell your car or whatever else to pay off debt, blah, blah, blah. I'm being you could go into far more complexity to than that, but it's all about you'll own nothing and you better be happy. You see, the thing is, people without wealth have no power base. They have little, the less you have, the more dependent you are on the state. It's just a fact, by and large. But Car Magazine Auto Express says it will create further cost barriers for drivers looking to transformational change to EVs, and called on the new Labour government to scrap the luxury car levy for battery-powered vehicles. Well, I would say no. You know, they should be on the same playing field as everybody else. Simple as. This illusion that they're green. There's nothing green about electric cars when you look into the materials needed involved in the building of them. The fact that the batteries are not recyclable. They're not. And most people don't realize this. Oh yeah, there's many car manufacturers out there who will give you an 8-year warranty on the battery. But they know, I mean, they're just glorified laptop batteries strapped together. That's basically what they are, yeah? The level of, it's a religion within the EV community. Oh, we're just so cool, but then they've been groomed by decades of things like Star Trek, etc. So, the point I'm making here, one of many I hope, is we're being taxed into oblivion. And then add to that, of course, car insurance. Because many times when an EV is involved in an accident, even a minor one, in many instances, the car's written off because of the way the cars are built and how the battery is encapsulated by the structure of the vehicle. So even what you would perceive in some respects as a reasonable minor dunt can affect the battery itself, and thus the cost of fixing or replacing is more than the perceived worth of the car. More by the day are starting to realize that. In the meantime, many more people are paying for this ideology, even although they don't have an EV, through car insurance. Yeah? And then add to that the amount of non-native people to the UK who have a vehicle, some of them apparently, like their Mercs or whatever else that are a number of years old. Anybody else would be, quite concerned about buying something like that. The reason why there's many of them are so cheap is the cost of fixing and replacing parts. But if you're not paying car insurance or tax or anything like that, and many non-native dinghy surfers are quite literally driving around the roads of the UK without any sort of tax or insurance, which I find it's got to be being sanctioned in some way, because most police, especially traffic police vehicles, have hardware and software that even as they're driving past a number of other vehicles, it gets back to them and says whether the car's insured, road taxed, MOT'd, all the rest of it. But for some unknown reason, many people, I'll repeat, who are non-native to the UK, seem to be confidently driving around the UK without a care in the world, while the rest of us quite literally pay for it. And I've seen some of the driving. Even recently, I had an experience as I was heading towards Edinburgh, and I was on the E7, and for probably 20 odd miles, there was a 4x4 in front of me, and it seemed to be jammed to the, it was like a compact school bus. And I did happen to notice a hijab, and I honestly thought initially that they were drunk, because they were weaving about the whole road. And when it was safe to do so, I overtook the driver, and I realised they had the full beam on during the day, and they actually speeded up behind me. I don't know what any of that was about, but the quality of driving was abysmal. Anyway, this has been my second or third attempt, because there's been a neighbour's dog barking away in the background. Anyway, so let's go to best rated. Was always going to happen. Most people saw through it, hence why electric vehicle sales are so slow or so low. They wanted to get as many as they could, saving the planet, buying one, then bang, load on the tax. They did similar with diesel cars, sold them as better and more environmentally friendly than petrol. Diesel was much cheaper than petrol. Then bang, no, they're harmful, and we will make diesel more expensive than petrol. Even although, I would add to that, it's actually easier, far easier for them to create diesel than it is to create petrol. But most people don't look into that. It's all a game to make more money and control the plebs, have nothing to do with the environment, or how about has nothing to do. But anyway, only a matter of time before government has taxed everyone off the road. Yeah, but that is part of the plan. Yeah, absolutely, in real time. Then starts taxing people for not having cars. Britain's state and local government is becoming too large and too expensive to maintain. By 2028, people will be treating hindsight as if he were the Sheriff of Nottingham. Hindsight is... Oh, right, okay, whatever. But yeah, it's the apathy of the public. I mean, I don't know how many times I've said it over the years. I blame the public almost as much as the occultists for what has been going on around us. This willful ignorance, and, well, it's not affected me just now. But even the level of denial, how many people have become cyclists for no other reason than they just couldn't afford to run their car? Seriously. And I mean, many Scottish politicians have quite literally said, look, we don't care even if they're EVs. They've still got tyres on them. They still use brakes. All of this is environmentally unfriendly. It's nothing about that. It's everything about taking away any asset that you would be encouraged to own. And at some stage, you are going to be charged, literally, for walking about from zone to zone and all the rest of it. Never mind anything else. Every aspect of your life. till you're taxed into oblivion. And I'll speak to you soon.